listening to Combat Sports UK.
Combat Sports UK.
Welcome back to the Combat Sports UK YouTube channel. My name is Brandon Work and I am joined by Mr. Dan Evans today. This is our picks video. We are going to be giving our picks for the full main card at UFC 311. This main card in particular is absolutely stacked, guys. Some unbelievable fights. Make sure and drop your picks in the comments below as well. Let us know who you guys are going for in these matchups. Some really hard ones to call here. We've got two title fights. Arman Tsarukyan taking on Islam Makhachev. We've got Merab Dvalishvili taking on Umar Nurmagomedov in the co-main event. But we're going to start with the main card opener, which is Kevin Holland taking on Renato Moicano, the Dutch Knight. Very, very good fight. Very good fight stylistically. It's an interesting one. Dan, I'll let you kick off with your prediction for this one.
Well, I think for this one, like I said, you've got Kevin Holland, a man who fights 16 times a year. Like, this is one of your most active fighters in the UFC. Everyone loves to see Kevin Holland on a card. The last time out was a bit disappointing, really. It was that Delize fight, the rib injury. People saying he quit and stuff like that. It's a rib injury, and if you got Roman Delize raring to go that second round, it might be a case of, you know what, it is a bit too sore to carry on. But I don't think he's a quitter. I think it's a serious injury. So I think, look, back to winning ways. I think for Kevin Holland, now Renato Moicano is not someone that, really was something that the UFC were looking to sign. Like I said, when he did sign, it was it's a double champion. But then when you look really into the nitty gritty, the record, and a lot of people were thinking, why have they signed this guy? The striking is not to a level at all. Now, if you're looking at striking, you compare these two, Kevin Holland is a world away from Renato Moicano, and I think that is where this fight will be won for Kevin Holland. In the grappling, you could say it's a very, very even playing field, even give the edge to the former double champion in Dariush. But I think for Holland, it's going to be a case of keeping it on the feet. I think he's got the astute grappling that is going to be able to do that. We will be able to compete with Dariush on the ground, and he'll compete enough to be able to get back to his feet. So I think for Kevin Holland, it's going to be a TKO victory. I'm probably looking at your second round or so. You may catch him and then follow him down to unleash some ground and pound, and then that's it. The ref waves it off for me. So I think it's Kevin Holland, round 2 TKO I have here in the first fight of UFC 311 main card.
I think you broke that fight down perfectly. It is a matter of, is Kevin Holland good enough? Is his defensive grappling good enough to keep this on the feet? And if he does, he wins this fight. And I think his defensive grappling is more than capable of keeping this fight on the feet. Renato Dariush, the Dutch Knight, his grappling is very, very good, don't get me wrong, but I don't think he's UFC quality, especially his striking, as you've just alluded to. It's not at UFC quality. And Kevin Holland's a guy that's been there with the best. He's probably fought everyone in the middleweight division. He fights probably the welterweight division too, for that sake. Yeah. But he fights all the time. He has been in there with some really, really good fighters when the Dutch Knight just hasn't really in those other organisations. So I think Kevin Holland will get the win. I don't think he'll get the finish. I think it'll be a unanimous decision win, or I was going to say the Funk Master, but it's not the Funk Master. The Trailblazer. I was going to call him Aljamain Sterling's nickname there for some reason. Head is away with it. Moving on to Renato Moicano against Beneil Dariush. I think Moicano is going to do similar to the Benoit Saint-Denis fight. I think he's going to come out, land a takedown, and land that vicious ground and pound that he finished Benoit Saint-Denis with. That was absolutely brutal. They silenced the crowd in Paris. But Beneil Dariush, we didn't see him in 2024 at all. 2023, we've seen him twice. One first round stoppage loss against Charles Oliveira and another against Arman Tsarukyan. So Beneil Dariush, I just don't see what he's going to be able to do here to Renato Moicano. He was a very, very good fighter in his day, but that curse that we talk about all the time, and divisions below middleweight, is very, very difficult to compete at the highest level if you're over the age of 35. Beneil Dariush is now, I don't know if he's 35, 36, not 100% sure. He's definitely over 35 anyway, coming on to the latter stages of his career in the UFC. You would think, I think Renato Moicano is going to go out and I'm going to go for a second round TKO finish. I think Dariush will be able to deal with him for the first round. But then it did get finished in the first round against Tsarukyan and Oliveira. You know what? I'm changing it. I'm changing it on the spot. I'm going for a round 1 Renato Moicano. The man needs money. The man needs paid, and he's going to get paid at a performance of the night bonus with a first round finish. Let's hear it, Dan.
I think unfortunately we are looking very similar here. I think Renato Moicano Moicano is going to pick up an excellent performance. I think he possibly is going to grab a performance of the night bonus. Like I said, the man loves his money, and like I said, the form he's on at the moment, I can't see him not grabbing that cash. So I think for Money Moicano, this is going to be another brilliant performance for him. I agree with you. I think it's not just the form Moicano's in, the tear he's on. The last time out against Benoit Saint Denis, that was one of the most brutal 2-round finish you'll see in 2024. It was a really, really special performance, especially out in Paris. He turned up and he really, really silenced the crowd. It was a special performance by him. Now, I agree with you. Dariush, it's been so long since I'm watching highlights of Dariush in the lead up to this fight. He's wearing Reebok shorts. I'm not seeing highlights of Beneil Dariush in Venom. So you could possibly even see a retirement here, which is not something you want to be seeing. Like I said, I'm no man to use the retirement word when it comes to any UFC fighters. But I think for Renato Moicano, it's excellent timing to get a name like Beneil Dariush, who is on a 2-fight skid. We've not seen him active at all last year. So I think for Renato Moicano, it's going to be an excellent performance. I think submission more so than a TKO, but I do think round 1, we are not going to see a second round for this. And I think Renato Moicano gets him down early. Good bit of ground and pound, and then that neck is getting exposed and the rear naked choke is getting slipped in for Renato Moicano. I've even got the choke in as a pick.
Big payday for Renato Moicano at UFC 311 if it all goes according to what mine and Dan's picks are. Moving on, light heavyweight matchup between Jiri Prochazka and Jamhal Hill. How do you think this one is going to go, Dan?
I think this is going to be mental. I think this is going to be absolute balls to the wall from both men. Like I mentioned in a previous video, Umar versus Merab, chaos. This is another one, absolute chaos. I mean, you look at the main event, an absolute calculated chess match. You can expect real technique. This is going to be the complete opposite. Yeah, like I said, both men are very technical strikers, but I think at some points the red mist comes down and it all goes crazy. So I think for Prochazka and Hill, it's whoever lands first, and I think that is Jiri Prochazka. I think Jamhal Hill, I don't like all this. Now again, I'm not the only one. He has really sort of turned some MMA fans against him, or turned a few fans off with his comments and talks. But again, that might just be his way of getting through it. And for Hill, he might just be holding on something. And again, it's something that if he does pick up a win here, that's his ticket to the rematch. Prochazka has... I'm sorry, I can't see Pereira versus Prochazka again. The two performances Alex Pereira's put in over you, Prochazka, are phenomenal. We don't need to see it a third time, no matter how many more fights Prochazka goes and wins. So I think Prochazka, I think unfortunately though, it is Prochazka who picks up the win. I think he does catch him. Whether it's a spinning elbow, a flying knee, I don't know. But I think Jiri Prochazka gets the knockout, and I think he does it in the second round.
Jiri Prochazka has never been to the scorecards, and I also agree. He's not going to be this time, but I think Jamhal Hill gets the hand raise here. It's a very hard one to pick. It's a very, very hard one to pick, and I haven't actually got any technical reasoning for it. I'm going to do a bit of MMA, Maz. It doesn't usually work out, but looking at the common opponent in Glover Teixeira, he gave a really good fight against Jiri Prochazka. Jamhal Hill, when I think about Jamhal Hill, that's the performance I think of. He was unbelievable that night. The way he pieced Glover Teixeira up to win that light heavyweight belt that night was nothing short of extraordinary. Glover Teixeira really having to show grit even to stay in that fight. I think Jamhal Hill's striking is just a wee bit cleaner. He's very, very good in the pocket. I think Jiri Prochazka does fight with his hands down. I think Jamhal Hill may be able to capitalise on that as Jiri Prochazka bounces in awkwardly and in the most unorthodox fashion possible. I think Jamhal Hill capitalises on it, uses his boxing. Jamhal Hill's not the sort of guy to throw kicks either. If I was game planning against Jiri Prochazka, and what Alex Pereira done really good was really trying to take out that lead leg, because he has got such a wide stance, trying to take out that lead leg with them calf kicks the way Alex Pereira done. So it looks like a good game plan they fight Jiri Prochazka with. I can see Jamhal Hill doing that. I think he'll more try and tee off on him, maybe back him up against the cage and really get into a pocket or get into some kind of clinch position and try and get a bit of dirty boxing going. I'm going to go for the same round 2, but I think it'll be Jamhal Hill that gets the TKO finish. What a fight that's going to be. It's a very, very hard one to call. Razor thin. Really, really looking forward to that one. Moving on to the co-main event of the evening and the bantamweight title fight between Merab Dvalishvili and Umar Nurmagomedov. What a fight this is. Whenever this fight was been spoke about, I seen in the MMA community people saying, oh, this is the most boring fight you could have. You know, it's a Nurmagomedov grapple heavy. It's Merab very grapple heavy. But I think Umar in his last fight against Corey Sandhagen kind of changed a lot of opinions. I think people seen that Umar is an exciting fighter. He's not your typical just Dagestani takedown and wrestle, which isn't even typical these days. Even looking at Islam, who we'll discuss now in a minute, their striking is nearly as good as what their grappling is. Their striking has come on a really long way over in that region. So Umar, I think, is more exciting, and I think this fight is more exciting than what people are giving it credit for. Merab Dvalishvili, look, 14 wins in a row. One of them has came by way of finish, 13 of them decision. He has been decision heavy the whole way to the title, but no one can figure out how to beat him. No one can figure out how to beat this man, but I think Umar Nurmagomedov does. This fight is one on the feet for Umar. I think he's good. His kicking will keep the fight at range. He's a very, very good striker, a very technical striker. We've seen it against Corey Sandhagen. I think his grappling, this is the difference between Sean O'Malley. That version of Sean O'Malley, we've said it before. I don't know what kind of version that was. I do know what version it was. It was a very, very shit one. But even if it was a good version of Sean O'Malley, I still think Merab maybe gets the win there because Sean O'Malley's grappling isn't good enough to out-grapple and really stop the takedowns of Merab Dvalishvili. But someone who is Umar Nurmagomedov. His grappling is going to be just as good as Merab's. I think he gets a decision win here, winning maybe 4 rounds to 1, 3 rounds to 2. I do think it'll be close, but I think it'll be a unanimous decision win. Khabib's first fight in the corner at UFC 311, I think he picks up 1-1. Whether it's 2 or not, you'll have to wait and see. Ban, what are you going for?
Well, I think you've taken the words right out of my mouth. I think this is a great fight, and for a lot of fans, like I said, it does seem, it's Nurmagomedov versus Merab, and Merab's a decision machine, so it has to be a decision he's going to. A lot of fans do think that, and I might be one of those fans, but hey, look, we'll move past it. So I think Umar is definitely the toughest test for Merab, as in well-rounded. Like I said, you look at Sean O'Malley. Sean O'Malley's striking is probably the best in the division, but there's that hole. There's that hole in that grappling that isn't there with someone like Umar Nurmagomedov. Umar Nurmagomedov has a vastly well-rounded skill set. Now, the grappling for Umar, of course, it comes with the name, the title. It is going to be a tough night for Merab to get that control that he likes to have. I've spoken about it in our Keys to Victory, Ways to Win, show, that I think Merab, it's about control. Unfortunately, make it the fight that a lot of fans think it may be. Make it that boring. Merab gets his arm raised, gets his first, proper defense of the title. But I think Umar's going to mix it up, and I think Umar is going to beat him. I think he is going to make this fight exciting. I think he's going to win this title. Again, I think it is going to be a decision. I do agree with you. I'm looking at probably 4-1, 3-2. I think it will be unanimous. I think Merab, unfortunately, I think it will be a case of his head may go. It may be a case of he might just lose it, and it is just going to be a case then Umar's then in control for the rest of the fight. I don't know if Merab will be able to keep his cool and that control. If he does that first takedown, it's stuffed. He will try again and try again and try again. But if he's repeatedly being counter-grappled the way that Umar can counter-grapple, it's going to really, really sort of dampen the spirits of Merab Dvalishvili. So I think it will end up with Umar getting his arm raised and Khabib, like you said, another addition onto father's plans. So I think Khabib will be very happy, especially with the way this first title fight has gone. Whether he's extremely happy, we'll wait and see.
Let's wait and see. Lightweight championship main event, Islam Makhachev taking on Arman Tsarukyan. Will Khabib be extremely happy or just happy? Is Umar going to win as well as Islam? Let's hear it, Dan.
I think Khabib might have the biggest smile in America. After UFC 311, I think Islam is going to make it a lovely clean sweep. 2 belts going back to Dagestan. I think Islam Makhachev will be victorious. Now, again, this is going to be a really, really great fight, a really close fight, and I think it's going to be far closer than that bantamweight fight because I think Merab's head, like I said, Merab's head will go. Like I said, Arman is very, very zoned in, focused on this fight, and Islam, he's very stoic. He's not going to let anything sort of rattle him at all, and again, he will stick to that that game plan. Now this fight is going to be, and I think you're looking at round 4 and then onwards. The last fight 6 years ago, it was a great fight then. I think this is going to continue to be a great fight. However, the levels have gone up on both sides. They have improved in their striking particularly, and I think this fight will include more striking, like we said in previous videos. So I think it's going to be a great fight. I think it might be fight of the night. I'm not going to say how good I think it might be. That's in a different video. But I think this is a really, really technical fight. You're looking 55-45. It's such a close fight when you look at it sort of percentage-wise. It's definitely the best 2 lightweights on the planet by a mile. I think Arman can pick this belt up if Islam Makhachev doesn't exist. But unfortunately, Islam Makhachev is here, and he's here at lightweight at the wrong time for Arman Tsarukyan. Now, we'll look at our champions predictions video, whether Islam is in the lightweight division for the whole of 2025. It's very much like the fighters previous when they were in a Khabib era. It's just 95 out of 100 overall. But unfortunately, Islam is that 100 out of 100. It's very hard to beat him. So I think for Islam, you are looking at a win. I think it is going to be a decision, again, just like the co-main event. You are going to look at 50 minutes of fighting towards the end of the night. But I think it's not going to be a 50 minutes where you'll be snoozing off. Or for us in the UK, you'll be, dropping right off at 6 a.m. anyway. But I think Islam versus Arman, it's going to be a brilliant, brilliant fight. And I think it is going to end with Islam getting his arm raised, and Khabib's going to be a very happy man with 2 belts brought back to Team Khabib.
Team Khabib will be very happy. I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think so.
Here we go.
Look, very hard one to pick. Very, very hard one to pick. I've just got a feeling, Dan. Look, my feelings are usually wrong, but you have to go with the gut feeling that you get. I think Arman Tsarukyan is the only guy that can challenge Islam Makhachev properly. I think he is the only real contender in the lightweight division. There's a reason why Islam Makhachev fought Dustin Poirier in his last fight and fought Volk twice for the title of featherweight coming up. It's because lightweight, as you know, it's known as one of the best divisions, and it usually is. But there isn't too many contenders in there, too many real contenders. So I think Arman Tsarukyan is the only one. But I think after Saturday night, he is more than a contender. I think he will be lightweight champion. How's he going to get it done? I think he gets a split decision win. I think it's going to be very, very close. I think one round will sway it. I can see Arman Tsarukyan causing damage. Damage is the key word here that I'm going to use. Talking about the difference between these guys' first fight 6 years ago and these guys now, the biggest difference in my opinion is Islam Makhachev striking has come on leaps and bounds. Arman Tsarukyan is a very good counter grappler, a better counter grappler, may I add, than Dustin Poirier and Volkanovski, and both of these men had success in that area against Islam Makhachev. So I think Arman Tsarukyan will have success too. I think he will scramble, end up on top position. We've seen the brutal ground and pound Arman Tsarukyan can land. I think he lands that on Islam Makhachev, cuts him open, damages him, blood flying everywhere. I think Islam doesn't let it get to him too much. I do think he wins a couple of rounds, but I'm going to go for a split decision win, Arman Tsarukyan. That is a bit out there, but if that comes in, that is getting clipped all over social media. So fingers crossed, fingers crossed. What a great card this is. What a way to start the year, Dan.
Yeah, I mean it's an excellent fight, and like I said, to top an excellent card. Like you said, look, if Arman does pick up that win, I think we'll see Islam more than twice this year. It's a bold prediction. That's what we're trying to do here. It makes the division far more exciting if we've got a new champion. It opens up a Charles rematch, and everyone wants to see Charles in the title fight. Yeah, I think it's a bold pick, and like I said, hopefully it tops off at what would have been an excellent card Saturday night.
Yeah, for sure. And we will round off on that. Make sure that if you're watching the fights this weekend, you do enjoy them. Even if you're in the UK like us guys and you have to fight, sleep, or whether you're on the drink, partying, no matter where you are, make sure you enjoy the fights this weekend. And Dan and I will be tuning in anyway, and we will be back on Monday for our review shows. Make sure and check out the Combat Sports UK YouTube channel. As I've said in the other videos we've recorded, we're scrapping the long form podcast. We're bringing out these shorter form videos like this picks one, like the bold predictions one, which we've discussed. We've also done a quick video discussing some sleeper fights that we think are on this card. Make sure and go and check that out. There's loads of stuff happening with Combat Sports UK. So make sure and like, share and subscribe and hit the bell so you get a notification when our next video goes live. Dan, thank you very much for joining me, and we will see you in the next video.